Welcome to the Digitally Dreaming Off the Ground podcast. I'm your host, Asif Ali. Today's episode will be a recap of what I was able to watch over the weekend, the NFL Network's top 10 games of 2021. I'm not going to go through all the games. You guys can go watch them online on NFL Network. You can watch them on the NFL Network, on the channel, or you can go watch them online. I just want to talk about some of my favorites. So we'll start with the number 8 game. The 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams in week 18 at Los Angeles. That was the game the 49ers needed to win to qualify for the playoffs, which they actually did. They ended up winning that game, and they ended up qualifying for the playoffs, right? So essentially, that game, the reason why that was one of my favorite games is because heading into the second half, the Rams, I believe, had a 17-3 lead. And then the Niners open up and they're able to score a touchdown, make it 17-7 to start the third quarter. The game goes back and forth. It basically goes down to the last fourth quarter. I guess in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, and the last possession of the Niners. I guess they get the field goal, and the Rams also, the game gets set to overtime. The Rams get the ball. Jimmy gets the ball, and Jimmy's able to drive down the field and get a field goal to solidify the Niners, postseason. We definitely didn't let the opportunity to make the postseason go to waste, in the sense that we were able to, the Niners, when I say we, I mean as a fan. No, I'm not the team. We're in the front office anyway, right? As a fan, the Niners, the 49ers organization, Lynn Shanahan, were able to, obviously, make the most, of the opportunity, making NFC Championship run, losing by a single digit margin to the Rams, at Los Angeles. The Rams were clearly the better team that year anyways. So obviously, the Niners were able to kind of make, the most of house money, and, it was a great run for the Niners. Now let's go talk about the Raiders and the Chargers game that also happened that same week. I believe that was the number 2 game. The Raiders versus the Chargers, and that game was also very, very high on my list because I enjoyed watching the Raiders, kind of duke it out, in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, because when John Madden had passed away, it was one of those things where the Raiders, they were in a situation where they could have lost that game, or they could have let the game tie. The game was tied 32-32 all heading into the final, actually 30 seconds of overtime. And Derek Carr was able to march them down the field and score and get Daniel Carlson into field goal range. And Carlson was able to score the overtime game-winning field goal. And that game, to me, the reason why that game was so monumental was because of the fact that, obviously John Madden passing, and just because of the fact that, there's so many storylines that came out of that game. The Raiders were able to go play Cincinnati the next round. Cincinnati was able to beat them, and then basically make the Super Bowl run. But the Raiders, definitely, it was a great way to cap off the season. Kind of sparked by turmoil with the John Gruden scandal and Rich Bisaccia kind of, pinch hitting, to be the head coach, on a whim's notice. So that really showed me as a fan, how the team was able to kind of unify, come together, and really put together some meaningful wins, to make the postseason run. Even though the run was short, there's a goal to qualify, and God, recipes got John Madden. I lived not too far away from him when I was living in Pleasanton before I moved out here to Sacramento. So, I see he definitely missed. So, next up, I want to talk about the 4 game, the LA Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This guy, I mean, God, what a game. The Rams were leading that game, and then Tom Brady's second half was able to kind of make it such a climactic game. I think ultimately, I really enjoyed that game for the reason that, it was such a kind of, it was almost like, it was like the Rams-Niners game, to qualify for the playoffs. It was like the Rams had a decisive advantage heading into the second half. And then Tom Brady comes back and, was able to tie the game in the fourth quarter. And then obviously Matt Stafford makes 2 of the most gutsiest throws ever. As one of my boys, Anthony, he said that. Shout out Anthony, if you're watching, listen to this. We got Matt Stafford makes 2 of the gutsiest throws ever to help kind of launch the Rams, to over the Bucs, and basically, help kind of solidify, why the Rams, ended up in the Super Bowl last year. So I really thought, that was also a great game to watch. So check that out if you haven't seen already. And then obviously we're going to go to the number one game on the list, the Chiefs and the Bills. I mean, golly, this game was full of so much intrigue, so much drama, so much back and forth. Bills get the lead, the Chiefs tie, then the Chiefs, and then Bills tie, and the Chiefs almost take the lead heading into the second half, and then the kicker misses the field goal. Then they start off again. I mean, that game to me was phenomenal. Obviously heading into the last 2 minutes of the game, 25 points were scored, I believe, in the last 2 minutes. Josh Allen was able to give the Bills a decisive edge. I think it was 29-33, and then Josh Allen scores a touchdown, right? Scores a touchdown, and then it's 36-33. And then Patrick Mahomes is able to bring the 30 seconds left. That's one of the things the Bills definitely regretted. Sean McDermott was on record after the game. Special teams, if you guys want to know the value of special teams, look no further than the Bills-Chiefs game, number one game, by NFL Network of 2021. The Bills-Chiefs game solidified why special teams is so crucial because, had the Bills tried to go for the onside kick, and if they were able to recover that onside kick, we would be having a different discussion today. We'd possibly having a different discussion today, right? About, the AFC Championship and obviously maybe the AFC representative of the Super Bowl, maybe in the Super Bowl champion. The Bills were able to kind of ride that momentum. But, we can't cry over spilled milk, right? Ultimately, the Bills were not able to make the right plays necessary. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, 30 seconds left, at his own 13-yard line, drives the Chiefs down the field to the 31, gets a field goal, sends the game to OT, and then obviously engineers a game-winning drive in overtime to elevate the Chiefs with the Bills 42-33. That was also a great game for the same reasons of the amount of back and forth, just the amount of drama and intrigue, and just the amount of kind of and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Bills receiver, why is his name escaping me? The Bills receiver, Gabriel Davis, set the record for most touchdowns in a postseason game with 4 touchdowns with his final touchdown in that game. More than Jerry Rice, more than Randy Moss. I mean, it's insane. That's fucking insane, right? I ultimately thought that the Bills-Chiefs game was so great. Obviously it's number one on the NFL Network's top 10 game of 2021, just for the amount of kind of back and forth chippiness and great quarterback play. One more game that I forgot to mention, obviously the Bengals and Chiefs game, the AFC Championship, that game as well. I think it was number 3 on the list, somewhere around there. For the Chiefs for the Bengals to go into Kansas City on AFC Championship Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, right? And they basically played Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead, who was previously undefeated besides the loss to Tom Brady in 2018 at home. And he had a 23-1 touchdown INT ratio heading into that game, which is the best all-time in NFL history. You're talking about a really, really, really tough ask and tough task to go in there and really do what the Bengals were able to do, being able to go in there and beat Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. So the Bengals, obviously, that was one of those games which was great to watch for multiple reasons. But ultimately for me, I thought the game was great to watch because of the fact that the Bengals had to put on such a stellar defense performance. Tremaine Maxwell in the corner of the man cave. So shout out to Tremaine Mack, the Bengals all-time receiving leader, kickoff returns, via yards leader. But obviously I'm sure he felt something for his teammate Eric Bieniemy, on the Chiefs side for losing that game. But that game was also phenomenal just because of the defensive masterpiece that the Bengals put together, and the ability to come back and bounce back, almost pitch out a shutout in the second half, to hold the Chiefs just 3 points and basically, win the game in overtime, do launch it to capitalize a Super Bowl run. So ultimately, I think that, these games on NFL Network, these 5 games were my favorite. So what was it again? It was the Niners, bad number. Niners, Rams, week 18, Vegas, and then Raiders, Chargers, week 18. The Bucks, Rams, divisional. The Chiefs, Bills, divisional, and then the Bengals, Chiefs. Bengals, Chiefs, AFC Championship game. And the Super Bowl as well was obviously on that list too. Great game as well. I was just really pulling for the Bills. Just as a Niners fan, because after we lost the championship game, I was like, man. So I mean, that was also on the list. But yeah, definitely, if you guys, you know, I mean, you can check out the NFL Top 10 games on NFL Network, or you can watch them online, YouTube, whatever. But these are my take. This is my take on those games. These are my 5 top games of the season, minus the Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless.